I never considered myself easily scared. I served overseas in the Army Reserve, a lieutenant. I'd seen bullets fly, explosions, jumped from planes. I thought I had fear under control, but everything changed one evening back home by the woods. My name's Jake. I grew up far out in the country, quiet, isolated, woods all around. Hunting was part of life. After deployment and before my new job started, I finally got back into it. Bow season scouting, tree stands, that kind of thing. One late September day, I headed up Crow Hill, a wooden rise near home. I picked a spot between thick pines and hardwood underbrush, found a deer sign, felt confident. I noticed weird things, a dismembered house cat body, limbs strewn in a circle, odd markings in the dirt. I brushed it off as prank or wild animal mess. I got the ladder, set up 25 feet up in the tree, overlooking a clearing in the edge of the hill. I walked the path back via an ATV trail so I wouldn't spook any deer. I was ready. When the season opened, I hunted as dusk came. The wind was right, the magic hour before dark. Eyes peeled, time ticked. I checked my phone at 5:03 p.m. Perfect. But then something changed. At about 5:55 p.m, I heard crunching leaves. It should have been deer. I raised binoculars and there it was. And it wasn't deer. A creature, long leathery limbs, crouched, one arm stretched forward, planted on the ground, its skin dark and weird. It held something brown in its hand, a rabbit, not wild. It was one of the neighbors. A stench hit me, burning flesh, nauseating. I watched in horror as the creature cleared a circle, raised the rabbit above its head. Yellow eyes, no pupils. Its mouth unhinged. With brutal speed, it ripped the rabbit's head off. Blood snapped, blood spattered. It held the body upside down, shaking it, emptying it of the blood. A wheezing, giggling sound, like it enjoyed it. I upped my body, scanned around. I was frozen in the tree stand. The woods that felt safe now swallowed me in dread. I couldn't move. I sat and cried. The soldier who'd faced gunfire, bombs, was now shut down in fear. Next thing I knew, I was at home, ankle wrapped in ice, my family around me. I told them everything. My father later took my arrows. They were crusted with reddish black goo. He said the tree's base was stripped of bark, smeared in animal blood. Later, my neighbor, Mr. Dawson, the one whose rabbit was taken, set up a security camera. One night, his chained rabbit pen was ripped open. The floodlight came on. His dog was released. Then the dog disappeared. The chains were destroyed, even the camera. There was no footage. Then the development crew on Crow Hill found something else. A nest-like structure of bent grass and branches, a canopy of underbrush. Around it, small animal bones, broken locks, blood-covered clothing, a dog collar on a canine skull, marked with Mr. Dawson's name and address. The disappearances stopped for a while, but the memory lingers. I still hear the crunch of leaves. I still smell burnt flesh when the wind comes from the pines. And whenever I walk by the tree stand that I built, I can't help but glance up, because I know something sat there, watching me. I grew up in a small Mormon town in rural Idaho, the kind of place that only had one road, one church, and too many secrets. Summers were quiet, blistering hot, and full of the sound of crickets by the creek behind our house. That's where it all started, the creek. When I was 12, our neighbor Peyton, this older kid from down the road, decided to do his Eagle Scout project on local wildlife. He wanted to catch footage of a mountain lion rumored to live in the hills, so he set up cameras and left out bait, an old speaker hidden in the brush that played records of dying rabbits. I remember hearing it the first night, this awful, choking scream that cut through the dark. My dad said it was just a recording, but something about it felt off. The next few nights, it played again, always around 2 a.m, always the same sound, until it wasn't. The screams started to change. They got lower, slower, like something was trying to mimic the sound, but didn't know how. Then the animals around the creek started disappearing. First the rabbits, then the barn cats. Even the coyotes went silent. One night, my mom got spooked. She said she heard the rabbit screaming right outside our window, except the speakers were miles away. She packed a bag and took my little brother to stay with family in town. My dad and I stayed behind. That night, I couldn't sleep. I heard the rabbit again, but it wasn't just one. It was many, layers of voices, like echoes, bouncing through the trees. My dad went out with his flashlight. I watched him disappear into the fog near the creek. He came back pale, shaking. He said there was nothing there, but his flashlight had gone out for a few seconds, and when he flickered back on, he swore he saw something standing upright in the willows, something tall, watching. The next morning, Peyton came over. He looked exhausted, said his cameras were destroyed, wires shredded, lenses cracked, but he'd pulled one last image from the memory card. He showed it to my dad. I only saw it for a second, but I'll never forget it. A pair of glowing eyes, inches from the camera, the rest of the frame just black. That night, Peyton disappeared. They searched for days. Dogs, helicopters, the whole town. All they found was one of his cameras, half buried in the mud. The audio from that camera played a few seconds of static, then a sound I'll never unhear. A scream, half human, half animal, and underneath it, that same dying rabbit call, distorted, like something was trying to repeat it back. After that summer, families started to move away. My dad stopped talking about it. The willows grew thicker every year, swallowing the creek until it was just a dark line through the fields. Sometimes, when the wind's right, I still hear it, that same sound, drifting from the willows. Not quite a rabbit, not quite human, just something remembering. I thought I had my life together. I'd been sober for 15 years. I'd done the work, the meetings, the amends, the lists. There was one thing left, one secret I still held. My name's Danny. I go to a meeting of a group called New Hope in the basement of St. Pete's Episcopal Church. It's nothing like what Hollywood shows. No flashy hero speeches, just folding tables, grim coffee, fluorescent lights, the smell of second-hand desperation. When I get there, I meet a man named Mike. He's brand new to it, a moth clean, glowing with that pink cloud feeling. He sits next to me. I've been around long enough to know high time can be dangerous. I listen while he chats, and I give him the usual responses, but inside, something is off. My secret nags at me. Mike asks me about the 4th and 5th steps to make a searching and fearless moral inventory, and to admit to God, to ourselves, and to another human the exact nature of our wrongs. I tell him I did my 4th step. I tried the 5th, but I skipped the one thing I hadn't told, the one amends I wouldn't make. I was only as sick as my secrets, Ralph used to say, but I kept that secret. A few days later, sitting at the back of the church by the small stream, talking to Mike, I break. I say, I need to do my step, my real step. He looks at me, hopeful. I tell him I haven't come clean about everything. I tell him the thing that haunts me. I tell him what I did. I admit it to him, and as I do, the world shifts. After the meeting, something changes. I begin to hyperventilate in the parking lot. I'm stuck in the memory of what I admitted. I realize how close I came to losing everything. In the past, I scraped change. I fought shakes. I drank in my car mornings. But this trembling panic is different. It's a soul shake. I drive to the church an hour early. I can't wait. Something inside me pushes me forward. When I step behind the church with Mike, I tell him, we're going to do it too someday. You'll have to. The secret keeps the sickness alive. And then I walk away, knowing that my part of the journey is changing. Because without facing the one thing, the deepest wrong, the hidden act, I am still chained. The program didn't free me completely until I freed myself from that. That night, sleeping uneasy, I dream of the past, dream of the bottle, dream of the cover-ups, dream of the thing I did and what it cost me. I wake up in the early dark. I look at the creek behind the church. The cold water flows, indifferent. The willows whisper. I know the secret is still alive, but now I've named it. Now I've faced it. And maybe that's the point. The program says we can clean our side of the street. We can't change the past. We can only admit, make amends where possible, and move on. But there's that one thing that sometimes can't be fixed. What we can do is stop hiding it, make it part of the light, because once it's in the light, the sickness loses power. I've done my 15 years. I will keep doing the next 15, and maybe tomorrow I'll join Mike in a new meeting, and when he asks about the steps, I'll tell him, start with the truth, the rest follows. The story that I told Mike, and the story that still haunts me till this day, is this. I told him about the time a couple of years ago when I was driving down from the mountain. It was really dark at night and there was some rain. I couldn't see that well, but I was trying to get home as quick as I could. I was driving past the speed limit. Suddenly, out of the dark, something jumped out of the road, right in front of my car, and I hit it. I stopped the car immediately and got out to have a look. I ran back and found a little girl that was hit by my car. I drove her down with my car, but I didn't know what to do. I knew this would be too big to let go for me, so I ran back to my car and just drove away. I got caught by the police a few weeks after that event. They found out that another person was driving down the mountain like I did a couple minutes after I was, and found the girl and took her to the ER. The girl passed away a couple hours after she was in the ER. It's been a couple of days since I've seen Mike, and I asked our leader at the church where he is, and none of them seem to remember him. I asked every single person in that meeting, and no one recalls a person by the name of Mike in our meeting. After the meeting, I walked outside to the parking lot. I couldn't find Mike's battered green Honda, and I started to breathe heavily. I pulled out my phone, scrolled through my call logs, all of the calls that I made with Mike and received, all of the texts, nothing. Then I received it, a text message in my inbox. There was no number associated with it. It said, I forgive you.